Will Anderson, top 10 player in the AFC South. Is it really that crazy? Let's get into it in the locker room.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. And you can see me right here in the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Hope you're having a great 4th of July. Subscribe, like, ride along. It's only about to get crazier. It is officially the month of the start of training camp. We'll be on the field for every single practice. We'll interview at least one player at each practice, and we'll give that to you. Also, going to probably get some guys on the stream as well. So subscribe, like, ride along. We started this last year, not the most fun year, but we remain consistent. And it's about to get more fun. There's a lot more people in the space doing it now. So spread the love. It's good to have all types of people trying to, or doing, I should say, Texans digital content. Fun times ahead. So I put out a list earlier this week of the top 10 players in the AFC South. Number one was Jeffrey Simmons. Number two was Derrick Henry. Number three was Quentin Nelson. Number four was Laramie Tunsil. Number five was Jonathan Taylor. Number six was Trevor Lawrence. Number seven was DeForest Buckner. Number eight was Shaq Leonard, although he could climb up that list with a healthy season. Number 10 was Tyson Campbell. And I skipped number 9 because number 9 was Will Anderson, rookie who hasn't even taken a snap in the NFL. Now, the guidelines for this exercise were simple. It was projections along with what they've done recently and what I think they will do or could do in 2023. So, based on that, putting a guy who's never taken a snap in the NFL like Will Anderson on the list, I don't think it's far fetched. And there's a number of reasons. Number one is edge guys that get drafted where Will Anderson did, they produce at a decent level in the NFL often. There's a lot of times where you go through growing pains, and most rookies will go through growing pains. But as far as production, a lot of times we have examples of guys who have produced at a good level as edge guys that were drafted high up in the draft. And I'll just give you the examples instead of asking you to take my word for it. Um, Rookie sack leaders. Let's look at rookie leaders in sacks the last few years. Last year, Aiden Hutchinson led rookies in sacks. He had 9.5. If the Jags had taken Aiden Hutchinson, then Aiden Hutchinson would have been on my list last year before the season, and he would have been on the list this year. So Aiden Hutchinson's one example. 2021, Micah Parsons, a little later in the draft, kind of no one saw this coming, really. 13 sacks. 2020, Chase Young, he had 7.5 sacks. He was a defensive rookie of the year. 2019, Josh Allen of the Jags, he had 10.5. That same year, Nick Bosa had 9. 2018, Bradley Chubb, he had 12 sacks. 2017, Carl Lawson had 8. TJ Watt had 8.5, excuse me. And then in 2016, Joey Bosa had 10.5. So you're looking at 9.5, 13, 7.5, 10.5, 12, 8.5, 10.5. If that happened, then I think it's safe to say that Will Anderson would be on this top 10 list at the end of the season. The other thing and the other factor that I think needs to be taken into account is the lack of star power really on the edge in the AFC South. The AFC South is not as star-studded of a division as a lot of the other divisions. The quarterback play is probably near the bottom. The wide receiver play is definitely near the bottom. The running backs is probably the deepest position. But as far as like edge guys, there's really not a lot of star power. And I'll show you the sack leaders in the AFC South last year. Yannick Ngakoue had 9.5 and Jerry Hughes had 9. So you have two guys nearing the end of their career that led the division in sacks. So that's an opportunity for Will Anderson right there. 9.5. You also have another factor is you have Nick Caserio saying that he's going to line Will Anderson up. They're going to line Will Anderson up on the left side, the right side, the inside, all that. So you know he's going to be used. DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded head coach. He lights up whenever he talks about Will Anderson. And regardless of how you look at the trade, it's very clear that they value Will Anderson. So I think based on that, Will Anderson being a top 10 player in the AFC South, I don't think it's far-fetched at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's pretty likely, especially if you're projecting. Now, if you just don't want to put a guy on there because he hasn't taken a snap, cool. But I would project based on everything I just laid out, what a lot of guys drafted near the same area as Will Anderson have done, along with how the Texans are going to use him and how much they valued him. I would say there's a decent chance that at the end of the year, of all the dumb stuff that I say, and there's plenty of dumb things that I say, Will Anderson being a top 10 player in the AFC South, I don't think that's too far-fetched. Subscribe, like, ride along. Let me know what you think. What is your top 10 list? Who did I leave out? Could Travon Walker have a breakout season? Christian Kirk, was he disrespected? Michael Pittman Jr., who did I leave out? Do you think Will Anderson belongs in the top 10? I damn sure do. And I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited for training camp. I'm excited to go celebrate the 4th of July. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It has been the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. No matter what happens, though, whether I'm an idiot, whether I'm right, whether Will Anderson has 15 sacks or a half sack or no sacks, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we are all in this together. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Local lines. The source, we the process. Landlock, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, top 2, and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.